So I use AI quite a bit in my work, and the one thing I've noticed is that you definitely have to stay on top of it. All right, you have to know what you're looking for, and be careful that the information that you're getting back or the actions or outputs reflect what you're looking for. So AI is basically everywhere in healthcare. It's helping doctors diagnose, streamlining that boring paperwork, even picking treatments. But we all focus on the latest metrics, the accuracy, how smart the AI is. But the real question to me is how professionals are using it, right? It should not, it should be your assistant, not your boss. So think about it. An AI recommendation should never be the final word. One of the dangers that we have is that AI can process information so quickly and so rapidly that the output can be beyond what the regular person, the average person can supervise, right? Especially in environments that prioritize speed and efficiency over everything. So while the information is now uh, readily available and the output and efficiency has increased somewhat or in some ways, it actually can overwhelm the senses in terms of what you now need to review and oversee. So it's important that we stay on top of these things so that the recommendations, the outputs, the analysis should never be the final word coming from AI. Right? We still have to think critically, challenge the suggestions, challenge the biases, and override them if they're off base. But we like efficiency, we like shortcuts, we like to move quickly, and the temptation can be that if these suggestions, outputs, analysis looks solid, we might just take them at face value without thinking, and that can be dangerous because it can not only be wrong, it may be technically right, but contextually wrong. When you're sitting in front of the patient, there are things that may come up that may not be part of the AI analysis that would invalidate the response or the recommendations. So we have to stay on top. And following that wrong advice could lead to adverse events for patients. Also, we might lose the sharpness of the critical thinking or clinical judgment. So if you lean too hard on AI, something called automation bias happens. Basically, we all tend to, well, a lot of people tend to trust machine outputs way too much because the machine is, objective, calculating, has all the data. There's a temptation to trust, but it does make mistakes, real mistakes, from things like messed up training data, biased algorithms, or straight up weird errors. Things were going fine, and now you notice that your model is doing something completely different from what it was doing before, and now you have to start over. All right. So imagine, an AI recommends stopping a patient's medication because on average it looks right. But what if the patient isn't average? What if there are certain things in this patient's history or in this patient's social context that mitigate or are confounding factors in what the AI is recommending? You could end up harming someone. And over time, the danger is that doctors who follow AI blindly can lose their ability to handle tough, complex medical cases. So, it's not really a sci fi scenario, it's actually happening in places where speed beats careful thinking. It happens in medicine even without AI, where speed is beating the output or so called productivity is more prioritized than quality, right? And so I spoke as well about the increased volume of the things that we need to analyze. All right. One opportunity that we cannot miss is that we now have the opportunity to challenge our thinking in different ways. AI can actually be used to strengthen critical thinking by challenging assumptions. Right? So we can't miss that opportunity. So what's the fix? Right? First, we have to design AI systems that encourage questions, not blind obedience. Second, we train healthcare workers to keep their critical thinking skills razor sharp. First, open dialogue. Doctors need to feel as comfortable challenging AI as they do challenging senior colleagues. Unfortunately, in many settings, challenging senior colleagues is a no-no. Right? You could lose your career, you could lose so many things. So perhaps we have to fix that first. Adding AI on top of that could actually be, a significant challenge. Things like hospitals setting up regular check-ins, asking questions like, what assumptions is the AI making here? You know, embed AI checks into daily routines, doing ward rounds, pause and question the recommendations. Did the doctor get this from without AI or with AI? What were the assumptions that the AI was making in making these recommendations? Also, AI systems, we should look for AI systems that give us multiple possibilities, not just a single answer, and ones that clearly explain their logic in ways that we can understand. So again, there are lots of patients to be seen. Expenses are rising, costs are rising, profits are falling always. It's never enough speed, enough productivity, enough output. We're always obsessing over speed, but we have an opportunity here to not only increase efficiency but also reward judgment. I believe that the efficiencies that AI can bring in terms of automating routine work, in terms of automating documentation, all of those things should actually free us up to critically think and engage with our patients and their situations on deeper levels, right? So that the space created by AI isn't just used to pursue more speed, but actually used to pursue more quality. We should measure how often the doctors are challenging the AI, and if necessary, overriding the AI. So we can not only take note and improving the AI, but to ensure that our clinicians are actually still engaging their critical thinking. So this way, the quality will always be beating the quantity. And finally, peer validation. You think about it, why not have a situation where somebody could make a quick phone call to double check the AI recommendations? Is there an AI super user that not only understands the medicine, but understands the weaknesses and the strengths of the AI, right? No single person or machine should be making isolated decisions, especially in high stakes situations. So, no, even skilled doctors can struggle with barriers like the time pressures that we put on them, or, being struggling with overly confident AI, right? To tackle that, the training must clearly show that AI is not perfect. Use case studies, real life examples where AI got it wrong, and practice verifying outputs before trusting them. You could start practicing with verifying that AI hasn't gone off the rails with that letter that you asked it to write, right? Practice engaging and thinking critically, checking the work. Again, the challenge of the bulk of products that AI puts can actually overwhelm the senses. So we have to be careful and cognizant of that and put measures in place. Also, things like creating timeouts. Organizations can create timeouts. Yep. Literally build moments into the workflow where doctors stop, breathe, and critically review the AI advice, especially for major decisions. So AI will take over the boring stuff anyway, right? And it should free up the valuable time for more quality, not just moving more widgets, moving more output, moving more efficiency, but actually increasing quality, right? So so the path forward is really to train doctors not just how to use AI, but when not to trust it, They gotta know AI strengths and weaknesses. And hospitals really should pick AI tools that give clear explanations, multiple choices, and confident things like confidence scores. So doctors always know, and other clinicians always know how sure AI is about its suggestions. Let's not rush into picking tools that are not, supporting our clinicians and actually making them better, but take time to think through the tools that we're implementing. So at the end of it, AI is powerful, but only if we use it right. It's not about letting the machines run the show, right? It's about blending human judgment with smart tech. Remember, AI is an assistant, not an authority. So we have to stay sharp, question everything, and keep those critical thinking muscles flexed.